a foggy Saturday afternoon. What a great day it is for more Simon Fraser Red Leafs women's basketball. I'm Howard Samura, joined by our analyst, former Simon Fraser standout, Katie Miyazaki. Katie, Happy New Year. Welcome to the broadcast.
Happy New Year. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one today. A lot of grads of the program are in the building today, but I think the paramount thing on the minds of the Simon Fraser program here is bounce back from a lopsided loss to St. Martin's on Thursday. Both of those teams came in at 2-0. They've got a Western Oregon team smarting from their loss as well, south of the border in Bellingham to Western Washington on Thursday. Both teams are hungry for a victory here. What do you think is key for Simon Fraser to bounce back?
I think they have to get out to a good start. I don't think they really started very well on Thursday night, right? And it's hard coming out of a holiday break, so just getting into their offense early and then generating some easy baskets.
Yeah, Simon Fraser could never get going from three-point range, and I know that's something that the Western Oregon Wolves like to do as well. I think the three-point basket is going to be big for both of these teams tonight. Can you just talk about what goes into that? For a team like Simon Fraser, not blessed with a ton of height to play real traditional inside-out basketball, how do they get the clean looks they want from three?
Well, if you hit a couple early, it really stretches out the defense, right? And I think they've been starting to shoot with more confidence. You could see the beginning of the year, they were just a little bit out of rhythm, and now they're really catching and being shooters. I know going into the holiday break, like Bree Neufeld was shooting really well from three and had some 20-point games. And then some of the others, right? And then that opens up the driving lanes. And then when they have to decide between the two of stopping the drive, stopping the three, it makes it a lot harder on defenses.
It's really interesting. You mentioned Bree Neufeld, and just takes me back to the start of November when we did some games at the Langley Event Center, the openers for this Red Leafs team, Katie, and they were really searching for their identity, knew they'd be kind of a scrappy team this year. They have come a long way since the start of November. And you mentioned Bree Neufeld. I'll add into that as well. Haley DeWall, those two players have really joined a group of four, kind of core players for the Simon Fraser team with Rachel Lukes and with Sophie Bergeron. What is their identity becoming now thus far early in the GNAC season?
Well, they've been generating a lot of steals, and again, their shooting has just improved as they've gone along. They got a lot of repetitions during the off season, but you just can't generate those same game reps, and now they've got those game reps. They know where they're going to get their shots. It was 5 brand new starters. You don't really know how that's going to work. Yeah. But now they're playing more as a team and figuring out their own strengths and weaknesses as a unit.
It really is interesting, and you as a former 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in U Sports, to bring up the steals. I was looking at Sophie Bergeron's numbers. They're crazy. She's at 3-4 steals a game right now. This is a player who came in last year as a freshman, got good minutes in her first year, very scrappy. The intensity levels there. I think she had some issues with her foul problems in the last game. But what have you liked about her spirit and her kind of drive with this team?
I think she's finding how to toe that limit of between those fouls and where she can get those steals. Long arms, able to move, reads it well, and able to generate those extra possessions that this SFU team is going to need.
Yeah, from a height perspective, this is one of the smaller Simon Fraser teams we've seen here in a very long time. Is it sustainable? The pace they're on right now, the way they have to play, how much of a challenge is that for a team to extend that over the course of a conference season?
Well, I think that's kind of the way that basketball has gone, right? We've gone away from those true power forwards down low. You still need that presence down there, but they've been doing such a good job as rebounding as a unit of you've got their guards getting doubles each night, right? Yeah. Collecting 10-plus boards, and if you're buying into that every night, I think you can make do with just 4 guards playing on the outside. And I say that as a very undersized person that had to play the 4, right? I'm 5'9". I think some of them are taller than me.
Oh, there you go.
Right?
That's a great point to make. We'll just go through some of the quick numbers here as we get close to the start of the player introductions and the anthems here at the West Gym. St. Martin's came in here and atop Simon Fraser 71-53. They took a 9-0 lead right off the top and were in command from start to finish, basically. They got 20 points from their post, Avery Oster, inside 19 more from their fine guard, Lakin Hill. Simon Fraser got 12 points from Rachel Lukes, 11 from Bree Neufeld, 9 from Sophie Bergeron, and 15 off the bench from Haley DeWall. And with maybe our last minute left here, Haley DeWall has not started a game, but she's been super as a sixth player. How key is that going to be for Simon Fraser to be able to bring that instant offense off the bench?
It's a great weapon to have coming off the bench of starters. Yeah, they set the tone, but sometimes you need that little burst, and she's able to come in and knock down those threes. Again, she was one of the ones that was struggling during the beginning of the year. It was just, again, those game repetitions, and now that they've had a lot of them, they look more confident shooting the ball.
We are getting set now for the start of Simon Fraser versus Western Oregon. We got about 30 seconds left on the clock. We can mention Western Oregon coming in here off of a 60-57 loss in Bellingham to the Western Washington Vikings. Western Washington, of course, will host St. Martin's today, another great game in this region just filled with great women's basketball here on a Saturday. We'll take a short break here for the singing of the national anthems and the player introductions. Howard Samura, Katie Miyazaki back from the West Gym in moments.
Good afternoon, basketball fans, and welcome back to the West Gym for today's game between the visiting Western Oregon University Wolves and your Simon Fraser University Red Leaves. Fans of the SFU and SFU, please rise if you're able, and please remove your caps for the playing of the American and Canadian national anthems. And now it's time to meet today's starting lineups, beginning with the Wolves. At guard, sophomore number 1, Sienna Wells. At guard, senior number 4, Selma Youngman. At guard, senior number 13, Ellen Vanilla. At forward, senior number 14, Natalie Brown. And at forward, junior number 20, Kaloni Walusi. coach for the Wolves is Jessica Petros, with associate head coach DJ Marlowe and graduate assistant Talia Clark. And now, the starting lineup for your Simon Fraser University Red Leafs. At guard, a sophomore from Abbotsford, number 1, Guard, a sophomore from Saguenay, Quebec, number 11, Sophie Bergeron. A guard, a junior from Prince George, number 12, Rachel Lukes. A guard, a sophomore from Glasgow, Scotland, number 22, Zoe Sharp. And forward, a junior from Gresham, Oregon, number 32, Ryland Wood. Head coach of the Red Leafs is Bruce Lake.
Starting lineups introduced for the Simon Fraser Red Leafs and the Western Oregon Wolves. For Western Oregon, their 5 starters. Number 1, a guard. It's Siona Wells wearing number 1. Selma Youngblood, a guard, wearing number 4. Enid Vaifanua, number 13, a senior guard, wearing number 13. Natalie Brown, one of the forwards, a senior. And Kailani Rookstool, their leading scorer, a forward, 5'9" junior of the Snohomish, Washington. For Simon Fraser, the starters, the same as Thursday. They will be Ryland Quirk in the front court, along with a 4-guard look at Brie Neufeld, Sophie Bergeron, Rachel Lukes, and Zoe Sharp. Set to take the opening jump here. Number 14, Natalie Brown against Ryland Quirk. Again, Howard Samura. Katie Miyazaki, thanks for joining us on the GNAC live stream from the West Gym atop Burnaby Mountain. Western Oregon will win the opening tip under their head coach Jessica Petros, wearing their road blocks with the burnt orange trim. Quick shot up for 3 is going to fall for Wells, and Siona Wells right off the top, 3-0.
Yeah, and that was a interesting action from Oregon. SFU did a good job getting over screens, but that one really opened them up for that 3-pointer.
Simon Fraser coming right back inside the arc, I believe. Bergeron lets go. And Sophie, who's been shooting it well from distance, knocks it down to make it a 3-2 game.
Yeah, as I said earlier, they're doing a really good job of catching it as shooters, as scorers, and you could see Bergeron didn't even hesitate before releasing that shot.
Great point. Getting Sophie off to a good start, key here for the Red Leafs. Wells again with a shot, this one just off the mark, the back iron, and Rachel Lukes now. The Prince George Jr. up the floor for Simon Fraser in their home whites. Here's Bergeron once more inside, off the window.
Yeah, it's great for SFU to get Bergeron going early on different looks there. The jumper earlier, now the attack off the glass.
2 for 2 coming in, averaging 12.7 points per game, 6.7 rebounds, 4 steals per game. One of the most versatile performers here early in the GNAC season. There's a drive inside and a great job to get to the cup there. Kailani Rookstool, the leading scorer on this team, makes it 5-4 Wolves. Nice tempo here early. Sophie for 3. Trying to get a board. Quirk tips it into the hands of Neufeld, but here's Wells once again. Trailing on the play from 15. That one's not going to fall. That one for number 14, Natalie Brown.
Yeah, what a pace to this game.
We can't even get our Simon Fraser numbers. They're moving so fast down the floor. Rachel Lukes coming down, draws the foul, and number 12 is going to head to the free throw line. Rachel Lukes had a big-time struggle. She had a big offer going for her from the field and finished 4 of 14. She would love to, like Bergeron, just really get off to a good start here today.
Yeah, and you hope again, those steals that they've been getting in the games of getting some easy looks. A lot of the time they've had to shoot challenge shots again, which destroys your field goal percentage.
Saved off the inbounds. It goes to Lukes and Simon Fraser. Now, instead of falling behind 9-0, including giving up that game-opening technical for the shot clock not working at one end, have an 8-5 lead here. Western Oregon's filling it up too. And that was Wells again. I believe Wells was 6 of the points early here.
Yeah, I'll try and get our live stats up here. I don't
no worries.
What's going on with my laptop here?
There's a 3 from Neufeld. Just skittles off the iron and won't fall through for her. Plenty to talk about with the season Bree Neufeld has had moving into this starting lineup and just carving out such an important role on this team. The jumper from the baseline off. Lukes with a rebound.
Yeah, and I love that box out there. It was the box out from Neufeld that allows Lukes to fly in and grab that board.
Here's Quirk inside the arc. Shot is shy, batted forward by Lukes. And just saved there by Selma Youngblood, number 4. Selma Youngblood, the senior out of San Diego, California. Enid Vaifanua, with a touch. Going inside there for Youngblood, batted away. Sharp quickly. Neufeld's going to pull up for 3 on the break. Simon Fraser looking to get that 3 ball falling with consistency.
Yeah, they're playing with a lot of pace here, right? I don't think there's been less than 20 seconds on the shot clock before any of their shots here.
It's too early in the day for us here. We're just getting going here. As Ocean Paradis, number 0, as well as the top 6 player on this team, Haley DeWall, now into the game for Simon Fraser. Trinity Youngblood, I believe, was the only player who subbed in for the Wolves. I could have been mistaken there. Here's Wells. Siona Wells, a sophomore at Lincoln High School in Tacoma, Washington, averaging 15 a game. That is 9th in the conference heading into play here today. I believe there's 5 or 6 top 25 scorers in the conference playing in this game today, so spread out equally between both of these teams. Simon Fraser defending with a 1-point lead. Wells puts it up from 3. Just off the mark, and Lukes again to DeWall. Haley, of course, leading the team in scoring in the loss on Thursday with 15 points. Lukes back to Paradis, back on top. Neufeld trying to create some space. Wells will pick her pocket underneath. Siona, the no-look to the wing, puts it up, and it's going to rattle home for Vaifanua.
Yeah, good little transition there from the Wolves. Kind of caught SFU the turnover. That's got to get back on defense.
Simon Fraser once more in the half-court. Lukes. Will the jumper fall here? Side iron again for Quirk. She chases down her own miss. Gets it up top to DeWall, who doesn't miss by much there on the 3. Vaifanua high off the glass, gets a friendly roll.
SFU needs a good possession here. They haven't scored the last 2.5 minutes, and what was working early, those early shots are no longer falling, so it's got to be, okay, can we get a lot of ball movement, move them around, get an easy basket here, or at least a nice look.
So here they are looking to remedy just that, and a travel is called on Lukes. Sophie Bergeron will check in, as will Alyssa Bawalda for Simon Fraser. Checking in for Western Oregon, Danielle Booker, the 5'7" redshirt senior from Fresno, California. Formerly went to Tusculum, is that how that's pronounced? That is where Zoe Sharp actually went to school last year.
Very cool, very cool.
So a very small school here with 2 players from the same program have transferred into this GNAC affair here. We should let everybody know that at halftime, there will be the presentation of the 2025 Carling Muir Award for Determination, Courage, and Resilience. We'll keep you in a bit of suspense here because it's going to be going to one of the members of this Simon Fraser women's basketball team. And Carling Muir, of course, Carling Muir played her high school basketball at Thomas Haney in Maple Ridge, also at Langara. She suffered a rare form of brain cancer that affects 0.3% of 100,000 persons in the U.S. By number. That's the stat I could get on that from an article that I had found, but had suffered a grand mal seizure in November of 2006 while playing at Langara. Later was the BC College Association's Player of the Year in 07-08. and battled her cancer bravely throughout her life, Katie, and I know you knew who she was as well. She was a prominent member of the basketball community and passed away at the age of 33 a few years ago. But this award, I think, really speaks so much of what she represented, and it's going to be great to see it be awarded to a Simon Fraser player at halftime.
Yeah, and it's, again, an honor to get to be able to present that here. I know Carling's parents are here in the audience watching the game. They're going to be part of the presentation.
So we hope you'll stick around at halftime and watch that. We're back to live action now. Coming out of that timeout, we'll see what happens here with Simon Fraser in a bit of a scoring funk right now. Great move off the dribble. What a spin move off the window.
Called for the travel there.
Oh, my goodness. Everything but make it stand. Kailani Rookstool, as we mentioned, 8th in the conference in scoring heading into this contest today. Both her and the guard Wells, number 1, the 2 top scorers on this team. SFU's 2 top scorers just exchanging the basketball there from Lukes to Bergeron.
Yeah, and even though they didn't score on that possession, it was a good little set that got them a good look at the hoop.
We'll see if they can't refine that this time down the floor. Trailing by 4 here. Bergeron down the floor. Back to Paradis. Ocean into the key and finds a way to get Bergeron for the reverse underneath.
There you go. Breaks that scoreless drought of about 3.5 minutes with a nice easy basket there. And that's because they looked to push it in transition. Bergeron went until someone stopped her. And then Paradis found her again.
Ocean with a nice part of that scoring play coming off the bench wearing 0. Of course, a first-year player here with the Red Leafs. Paradis out of Quebec City, standing 6'2", averaging of just under 10 minutes a game here in conference play.
And you can see both of these teams really looking to attack in transition. Western Oregon has got a lot of their wide open looks off of transition, off of misses, and the Red Leafs are very similar. They love to run as well.
The scoring offense is coming into this game today. Western Oregon averaging 72 points per game in their first 3 conference games. They're number 2 in the conference. Simon Fraser number 7 at 62. So there's a 10-point difference there. The scoring margin, Simon Fraser has scored 62 a game and allowed 62 a game. But the margin, 20.3 points per game, and I know it's a small sample size, but this Western Oregon team has scored it well. And bingo, so does Simon Fraser right there. Bergeron with a 3.
I think that what speaks to me, and that is 62-62 scoring average and against, is that you're never out of a ball game.
That's a great way to look at that. Of course, Simon Fraser winning their first 2 on the road to start the GNAC season. Came in with that 2-0 record before that loss against St. Martin's. Both these teams at 2-1. There's Wells from 15, automatic. 16-13 the score here. 3 minutes left in this opening quarter. Bawalda, the high post, leaves it for Rachel Lukes. Lukes displaced to the ball, stolen away, and here comes Western Oregon with numbers. 4-on-2 down the floor, the dish to the wing. Wells for 3, and she knocks it down. That's efficient basketball.
Yeah, and that's one you've got to find in transition. You know that Wells wants to shoot that ball. She's already put up, I think it's 4 3-pointers.
Some big changes here on the floor with Sharp, Quirk, and Bree Neufeld, excuse me, you're right, heading on to the floor now. There's Haley DeWall. She'll put up a triple. Off the front iron. Chase down. Sharp doing a good job.
I feel like we had the perfect angle to see Sharp grabbing an arm there. Lucky to not pick up second
as soon
foul.
as I said that, I was going to go, well, maybe not. Maybe she's going over the line a bit there.
That's okay. If the ref doesn't call it, it's not
right.
a foul.
That's right. I've been watching too much of defensive secondaries lately. You'd get away with that one if you're a DB.
Yep.
Western Oregon with a jump shot there from Wells. Guess who? Unable to find the connection here, and Bergeron now back down the floor. Sophie knocked down the 3. She's had a driving lay-in as well here today already. Sharp back to Sophie for 3. That one off the side of the goal. Neufeld battling underneath. The rebounding numbers from Bree Neufeld have been certainly impressive. She's been among the best rebounders in the conference. I don't know if you expect that from a 5'8" guard, but you were talking about yourself being a bit undersized, having to go inside. So,
well, and I feel like she's been getting a lot of offensive rebounds, and a lot of offensive rebounds is just timing and knowing where the ball is going to go. And that one on that tie-up just kind of knew where it was going and went hard.
Got the good instincts inside. She feeds Quirk this time. Ryland again coming away with a miss. There's a pull-up 3 in transition. Swirls in and out of the rim for Rookstool. Sharp, a little dish inside to Quirk. Trying to split the defense, losing the ball there to Wall. And Siona Wells quickly underneath. Kicks it out for 3. They miss an easy one inside. Kick it out, and Rookstool knocks down the triple.
Yeah, on that transition, right, getting back, these turnovers are proving a little bit costly for the Red Leafs. So just they're not getting back.
Simon Fraser unraveling a bit here down the stretch drive of this opening quarter. Biggest lead of the game is now 9 points for these Western Oregon Wolves.
Yeah, there's some good, though. They're looking to move the ball a little bit more on offense before looking to penetrate, but they're almost moving it too fast. The Oregon hasn't actually shifted their defense before they're looking to drive, and the ball's already back on the other side. So just being a little bit more patient, I think, will open up those lanes.
And patient, tough within this frenetic pace, as Katie's outlined here. They have been pushing the ball start to finish, both sides here. And it'll be Western Oregon basketball, 28.4. About a 4-second difference on the clock between the shot clock and game clock here. Trinity Youngblood will put up the shot. Her foot was on the three-point line. It's a miss nonetheless, and here comes Rachel Luke. Shot clock off. Last possession available here for Simon Fraser. Sharp the entry to Quirk. Ryland a couple of bounces inside, puts up the shot and gets it to go. Ryland Quirk.
Yeah, really good patience there by Quirk of there's enough space.
Ooh, and travel. Kevin Lay, the official, calls off the shot from Rookstool. And I think Bruce Langford was telling her a great joke. I know they're both laughing there as the quarter comes to an end. 7-point lead for Western Oregon. They came in as advertised of a quality basketball team. Both these teams, Katie, as we mentioned, coming off losses Thursday. Simon Fraser played well right off the opening tip, and as you say, some issues just down the late stretches of that opening quarter. But still well within doing what they want to do in this game, getting back in the win column and via this contest.
Yeah, and I think if you're Simon Fraser, you're actually okay being down 7 because you had twice there was 3 minutes where you didn't score a basket. Okay, so for the fact that you're only down 7, it could have been a lot worse. So again, they just got to come out with that energy and try and maintain it throughout of those quick shots.
Yeah.
Okay, they were falling. It almost gives you this false confidence, so they kept shooting them. But keep working. There's going to be gaps to attack.
When you said that, my brain automatically goes back to Thursday and a stat I gave out on the air, because Simon Fraser got off to a slow start off the opening tip, really came back well against St. Martin's in that opening quarter. But from the entire second quarter and maybe half of the third quarter, they were a combined 2 for 25 from the field over that stretch. And I said it on the air, Katie, I don't think I've ever seen a dry spell like that had a definitive number like that. And when it happens in little stretches, as you say, a couple of 3-minute stretches, what is that indicative of? Is that just them as a young team having to figure things out on the go, or what is that, do you think?
Yeah, I think they're still trying to figure out what's a good shot, a great shot. When should I be taking those in the shot clock? Because sometimes shots that are good late in the shot clock are not good when you're just like 8 seconds in, right? So just finding those again, of are you shooting well? Who on your team's shooting well? How can we generate a higher percentage shot of, again, we get a lot of steals. How can we actually turn those into points?
Western Oregon shooting 44% in that quarter, 8 of 18. Simon Fraser, 6 of 16, 38%. They start with the ball. Lukes inside. Battle-tested bucket there by Rachel Lukes as she takes on the defense in the paint.
There you go, and hopefully they can ride that momentum, right? Starting off with a good possession, a basket. Now step it up on defense. You get to set all 5 up here.
We'll see what the quarter break does for the continuity. Coach Langford blocking our view there. Were they in a zone there?
No, I think that was just a good post-up move down low.
Simon Fraser with a chance to get some kind of a little run going here if they can get things going. Quirk hit her last one. In and out. She's so close on every shot, but they all seem to, or the majority, come back out. It's a tough break for Quirk on a good-looking shot there.
Yeah, and that's one of those ones that, again, analytics-wise, they would say that's a bad shot, right? You could probably get that at any point in time. I do appreciate that look, shooting it with confidence, right? Catching it in rhythm.
But what you're saying about a good shot versus where the shot clock is.
Yeah. Again, 30 seconds for a shot clock is a long period of time of you may get that on that first side, but you also might get it again on the other side again, and it might be even better.
From that quarter, Bergeron led SFU as the shot goes up here with 9 points. The leading scorer on the other side with 10 was Siona Wells with double digits. Red Leafs again in the half court. Here's Zoe Sharp. Neufeld kicks it back up top. Bergeron, a deep 3. And she's missed a couple in a row. Rookstool, number 20. To Wells, the 2 leading scorers, each getting a quick touch there. Combining for 19 of the team's 24 points thus far in the game.
Foul on Quirk there, just reached in a bit and got a little bit of the arm.
First foul of the game for Rylan Quirk. Bergeron guarding Wells. Shot clock down to 5 here for Western Oregon as Wells puts up the shot. Great defense by Simon Fraser. Lukes once again into the paint. Bergeron takes on the whole defense and she gets it to go. Count that one. And the foul getting called against number 21, Danielle Booker of the Wolves.
Yeah, and I like that action of Luke's got the rebound, headman to Bergeron, and Bergeron did a little handoff back to Luke's, and they were just able to attack the Western Oregon defense before they were able to get set, even though all 5 were back there, but they weren't ready.
There's something I like about the combative finish that Bergeron has, the fearlessness to attack that basket. 24-19, Simon Fraser, a nice run to get back to Bergeron, committing the foul. I believe that's her first of the game.
That is her second.
The second? And she will come out of the game, indeed, her second foul of the game.
Yeah, that's where it's tough, right? Of those fouls, that one really no need for it. And now your leading scorer is on the bench.
That is a tough one there for Simon Fraser, but they'll put Paradis in the game. You get to see why Siona Wells is putting up the point total she is on a nightly basis. She makes good from the free throw line, 25-19. It's a 2-possession lead. Here's Quirk Ryland into the paint. Back up top to Neufeld. Sharp for 3. And the 3-point ball is not falling for Simon Fraser here. SFU was 1 for 6 from 3 in the opening quarter. Here's Wells. Sharp staying in front of her, and good job defensively by Zoe Sharp, and it's going to end up causing the turnover into the front row of the seats here at the West Gym.
Yeah, that was a really good job by Sharp and Neufeld, just switching, knowing that they can switch those screens, so they weren't impacted, and they actually were able to create a little bit of chaos.
Quirk once more. Turnaround off the window, draws the contact. And Ryland Quirk getting to the free throw line.
Yeah, Ryland's been doing a good job of when there has been space, taking her time and backing them down to get a good shot.
These will be her first free throw attempts in the conference portion of the season. A little surprising, consider she gets pretty good minutes per game and really does attempt a lot of shots in the paint that she's not getting fouled, but she got to make shots to get fouled, I guess. So we'll see how that goes, and she misses them both. So Simon Fraser leaving a couple of points on the hardwood there. They remain down by 6, defending. Wells to Trinity Youngblood. The drive in on Paradis. Unable to score, but they'll keep possession of the basketball. Paradis coming in from Quebec City on the floor now after Bergeron sitting with her second foul, if you're just joining us here. Howard Samura, Katie Miyazaki from Simon Fraser, the second of 2 here in this GNAC opening women's basketball weekend at Simon Fraser. Kick it back out, Youngblood for 3, and that is going to take its time before it decides to fall. Trinity Youngblood. 28-19, a 9-point lead, I think equals the largest lead of the game. Luke's thought about a deep 3 against Rookstool. Instead, she'll drive inside, split the defense, and get fouled on her way to the basket. Blocking foul gets called, and Rookstool not happy.
I feel like SFU is doing a better job of really spreading the floor, and it's creating these driving lanes, and a lot of it is just people getting to the corners. I swear, I used to joke about it. I used to spend my entire first year in the corner. If I knew I wasn't going to do anything offensively, be in the corner, because it takes the defense and creates more lanes. If you're up higher, it allows your defender to be in the help side.
I love that. So lessons from Katie's freshman season coming through here tonight, all these years later.
Work hard, play defense, get after the ball, and stand in the corner.
I love it. 7 points, Simon Fraser cutting it to. Here's a 3 from Selma Youngblood. Both the Youngbloods on the floor right now, number 3 and number 4. Here's Paradis. A lot of time on the shot clock here is Neufeld, pivoting across to Sharp. Shot clock under 10 here for Sharp. The entry to Quirk. Ryland quickly kicks it back out. Paradis needs to make a move with the basketball on the baseline.
And that's something, again, will come with a little bit more experience, understanding that it was late in the shot clock. Paradis probably would have been better off taking that 3-point shot.
Yeah. Unable to get one to go. Went off the side of the goal there in a bit of haste, and she's talking to head coach Langford right now during a timeout. Nice crowd here today. As we mentioned, we're going to have a presentation. Oh, you know what? And you just flashed a sign to me about the amount of alumni. I have to first say, I hadn't seen Lisa Tyndall in 15 years, and I just said, oh, hi. Oh, and wait a minute, that's Lisa Tyndall, who is a great guard here. You played with her a couple of years. There's a lot of alumni in the building. We'll talk about them throughout the course of the evening, but you've got a bit of a list going here.
Yeah.
Let me know who's here.
Oh, my gosh, so I should just go down this list. We got Devin Campbell, Lisa Tyndall, Julia Wilson, Armand Dulé, Jessica Jones, Grace Killens, Claudia Hart, Sophia Wazatsky, who's actually working the table here with us, Georgia Swan, Courtney Gerwing, myself, Teresa Gabriel, Morgan McLaughlin, and Bree McLaughlin.
Oh, my goodness. What a list. You can imagine if that was a team, or if we could get all those players, including you, in your SFU primes on the floor in a game against each other. I'd pay money to see that one. Buy popcorn, the whole bit. That would be so fun to watch.
I think the only thing would be the game would have to be shorter. I think that would be the only thing.
But if we went in the magical Wayback Machine and you were, I'd say all of you guys, everybody could play as a junior. I'd say that's what I'd like to see.
I like it, yeah.
I'd love to see that. And Jessica Jones, you mentioned, just passed the bar. She went to law school, and I know saw her on Thursday as well. Has an exciting career ahead of her. What a scorer she was here. Drive, explosive to the basket, and taking the charge, Haley DeWall. Wow.
Good job
Standing
stepping in.
And thumbs up to Simon Fraser camera crew there. What a job getting that charge taken. And that one will, I think that's good for a bit of added adrenaline on this offensive possession. Let's hope so from a Simon Fraser perspective. Here's Quirk. Back outside Bergeron. Sophie's runner is not going to go on the baseline. They get a lot of friendly rolls off the rim. They love the rims here in the West Gym. Western Oregon's Danielle Booker with a basket there.
Yeah, nice gentle touch there. Give the ball a chance.
Here's Lukes. Back up top. McLaughlin. Rather, I looked at your list. Oh my goodness. Bree Neufeld, not Bree McLaughlin. When you call games for 20 plus years, it can be dangerous because these names just going to come out of nowhere. Oh.
Hey, Bree would have shot that shot too.
Oh. Yeah, Bree and Morgan McLaughlin. Up the floor we go here. Names being referenced from the U Sport era of national championship domination and glory here by Simon Fraser. Lukes gets called for the travel. Tough break there.
You can see that they're really looking to attack the basket, but now again they've stopped moving it to a couple sides. It's maybe one or two passes and then there's a lot of dribbling.
So Simon Fraser at a real delicate point of this first half with 3:18. You don't want to go into the break with your play declining and right now trailing at 9 and in danger with a made bucket here being double digits down. Sharp getting out there aggressively against Rookstool. Shot clock under 10 here. Post up move by Booker doesn't go. They get the ball back. Simon Fraser's got to play more defense here. Youngblood underneath. Great save. Kicks it out for three. That was literally a save out assist for three to Siona Wells. And that's a big bucket here. A 12-point lead, largest of the half right now for Western Oregon. Karpow, number 33 for her first action of this half. And they're going to call a jump ball there, and that's going to be a Western Oregon basketball.
Again, they kind of stayed on the same side of the floor. And then they're attacking into where all the defense is as I rewatch the replay here. I love their aggression of looking to attack the hoop, but they've got to be able to create more gaps for each other.
Seeing the floor important here for Simon Fraser to maximize those possessions. As Western Oregon looking for a chance to keep the momentum building. They love what they've been doing the last few possessions. Here's Youngblood off the dribble. The drive inside the paint, shot goes up. It's not going to go there for Booker. Inside to Quirk. Ryland wants to play it off the window. Can't find the angle there. Wells is going to pull up. Amidst the chaos, puts up the triple. Fails to fall here. Lukes with the rebound. Karpow the entry to Quirk. Ryland will pivot, go to the corner. There's a 3-ball for Lukes that is off the mark.
Good look there, and I thought better movement by the Red Leafs there. They had some cuts through, and that's why Lukes ended up wide open for that shot.
So wide open, maybe she thought about it too much. There's a reach in. It'll be Simon Fraser basketball on the jump ball. An aggressive play there by Western Oregon's Natalie Brown.
And they're going to take Bergeron out there. I think that's again towing that line of almost picking up the third foul there. It was a great aggressive play, but a little bit could have been their third there.
A bit more experience in terms of having seniors and juniors out there in more quantities. There's Karpal for 3. That one off the side of the goal. Under a minute remaining here. Red Leafs trailing by 12. Western Oregon battling. They fell behind big at Western Washington Thursday. Stormed back and couldn't win it, but certainly determined here in this opening half of play. As I believe that's Rookstool underneath. That's going to get hammered underneath, and the foul being called against Haley DeWall.
Yeah, they just kind of, one of them switched, both of them switched, and that's kind of how they ended up with the wide open shot down low. Hopefully can get a good possession here, right? Cut into this lead, go in a little bit on a higher note. They're 1 of 10, and they're scoreless in the last 5 minutes.
I was just going to say, I bet that's about 5 minutes, Katie. Sobering 5 minutes to play, as you mentioned here. Really hitting one of those dry spells offensively. Shot clock now at 10. Luke's into the paint, can't get that to fall. Simon Fraser trying to battle inside to score.
And then that's a tough one there of just the little reach in there of foul. Giving free throws to the Western Oregon here. Again, 9.5 seconds here. You'll be able to get good transition offense here. Hopefully get a good look at the hoop.
That was Bawalda getting the foul. Alyssa's first of the game. The 15 foul. 9.5 seconds in the half. And they get a good shot. DeWall puts up a long 3, and it's going to fall.
There you go, and that's how you get to go into the half. You probably feel a lot better with that.
11 points, exactly. And something to be said for not hesitating and having to play every second of that clock, because that was a courageous deep 3 that fell to make it 35-24. So Simon Fraser's in a bit of a pickle here, obviously, at the half, Katie. And, you know, when you talk about things schematically, is that going to be the first place the coaching staff goes to with this team, do you believe, at halftime?
I think they just need to create better opportunities on offense. Defensively, they're doing a good job, but it's when they miss or they have a turnover, it's giving fast breaks to this Western Oregon team, and they've kind of came back to bite Simon Fraser, whereas Simon Fraser hasn't gotten a lot of easy looks. We said, like, I think it was that first one that Bergeron got that steal and Luke's got it down low, but since then they really haven't had any transition points. And it's kind of made it hard. They're having to put up tough shots, and I think it's reflected in their shooting percentage right now.
Wow. We'll just run down the top scorers quickly. Siona Wells with 14 points, leading all scorers here for Western Oregon. We should also say Natalie Brown hasn't scored, but she's got 9 rebounds in this contest, 11 rebound edge for Western Oregon. Simon Fraser led by the 11 points of Sophie Bergeron, the 8 points of Rachel Lukes. That hasn't changed so much from the last time we even told you who the leading scorers were. Simon Fraser really struggling down the second half of that second quarter of play. So we'll leave it there. We'll be back in about 13 minutes for the start of the second half. Western Oregon 35, Simon Fraser 24 from the West Gym. Howard Samura, Katie Miyazaki back with you here at the West Gym. Thanks for joining us once again on GNAC TV, and we will begin our foray into the second half here. We are awaiting the presentation of the 2025 Carling Muir Award for Determination, Courage, and Resilience, honoring the courageous spirit of local basketball player Carling Muir, who lost her battle with cancer a number of years ago. We had referenced Carling, obviously, earlier in the broadcast, and that award being presented on behalf of her, that award in moments here as the teams get set to come onto the floor. The annual award is made available to a student athlete playing basketball at a post-secondary institution in BC who has demonstrated exceptional ethics, dedication to team and or community, and perseverance through overcoming adversity. And we will let Ryan Chilton, our announcer here in the building, take it away from here.
Carling Muir Award for Determination, Courage, and Resilience. Carling Muir, a former player from Langara College, was passionate about basketball. She was named a CCAA All-Canadian, a Pacific West Conference All-Star a number of times, the Pac-West Conference Player of the Year for 2007 and 2008, and was recognized with Sport BC's Mary Jerome Comeback Award. She also coached young basketball athletes, volunteered with Kids Fighting Cancer, was an inspirational speaker and fundraisers for the BC Cancer Agency, and spearheaded fundraisers to raise money for brain cancer research. This bursary is a living tribute to the Go Quit spirit that Carling displayed throughout her courageous 14-year battle with brain cancer. An annual award of $2,500 is made available to a student athlete playing basketball at a post-secondary institution in BC who has demonstrated exceptional ethics, dedication to team and or community, and persevered through overcoming adversity. Presenting the award is Carling's parent, Brent and Shelley Muir, and Carling's partner of 13 years, Andrew Sturgeon. The recipient of the 2025 Carling Muir Award for Determination, Courage, and Resilience is Anushka Kanagasamy. The recipient of the 2025 Carling Muir Award for Determination, Courage, Resilience is Anushka Kanagasamy from the SFU women's basketball team. Please give a round of applause for Anushka. Congratulations, Anushka.
Katie, I asked her, because I knew she'd had problems with her knees, I said, have you had 2 ACL injuries on the same knee? And she said, yeah, but I've actually had 3 in total. One at 14, one at 15. Both, I believe, were on her left knee, and I think the current one is on her right knee. That's a tough break for a talented basketball player at Fleetwood Park in Surrey.
Yeah, that's a tough one, and it feels like those injuries are happening earlier and earlier. At least,
Yeah.
I guess, once you've done it a couple of times, you know the rehab process, but that's something you never want to know. Just like I'm recovering from my ruptured Achilles, and I want to never, ever have to do it again.
Yeah, ruptured Achilles, and yeah, and it's great. Anushka, she just loves the sport. She loves the whole university atmosphere and is continuing to get her education here at Simon Fraser. So we wish her the best and congratulations, and so well deserved. And to you as well, Katie, what a trooper. You were doing games in a boot with your knee, your leg elevated. I felt for you. You finally got that off, and you're on your way to recovery now.
Okay.
Well, Katie was going to reply, but Coach Langford has added more names to this list of alumni.
Is it bad that I kind of forgot halfway through there? There was 3 names, and I'm going to...
I thought I remembered one for a second. Now I've forgotten.
No, there's... Oh, that is a hold right there.
That is the... Oh, my goodness. Rookstool simply grabbed the jersey of the Simon Fraser player.
Apparently that is the blind spot, because that is also where earlier Zoe Sharp grabbed a hold of someone's shoulder. So.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, I think I remember now. Yeah, there's 3 more alumni here from the women's basketball program of Grace Killens, Jessica Jones, and Pam Reynolds.
Okay, because we already had Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
But we've got 2 more to add to that. Driving inside, Rachel Lukes is taking a physical beating inside. She draws the contact, the foul, and will step up to the free throw line.
Yeah, again, they're starting off the half looking to attack hard, attack that rim. There was a good gap there, able to split the defenders and draw that foul.
So Rachel steps up and makes the first. And makes the second. So Simon Fraser gets it under double digits here in the first 36 seconds of the second half.
Yeah, I swear they used to say that like an 11-point lead was one of the worst leads to go into halftime, because you almost have this like we've got a little bit of a cushion, but then quickly, right, it's already back into single digits.
Let's see what they can do defensively here is Siona Wells, who filled it up in that first half for Western Oregon. Trinity Youngblood, the drive underneath. Lukes, I thought, had it there for a second, and they do get a rebound here with Zoe Sharp back to Rachel, back up the floor. Lukes speeding coast to coast off the window, and Rookstool's going to get called for another foul.
Again, I love it when they get that ball and they're looking to get it up the floor quickly and looking to attack. Luke saw no one in her lane as she was going, so took it all the way, and now they're getting their 3rd and 4th free throw attempts at the line in the first minute and 8 seconds compared to they had 7 in the first half.
Well, certainly it looks like it's a mindset coming out of the halftime locker room to just really get that going, and Luke, as one of the leaders of this team, obviously is living up to that. She has drawn contact and fouls and has gone 4 for 4, as Katie says, in the first minute.
Yeah,
all of a sudden we've got a game here.
Yeah, and you love that of Luke's is 8 for 8 from the line. We said she had a tough shooting game last night, or on Thursday night. It's a great way to reset your shot.
Yeah, leading with your heart there, Bree Neufeld knocks it away, and it's going to stay with Simon Fraser, or go to Simon Fraser rather. So a great job defensively, and that prompts a quick timeout here from Jessica Petros of Western Oregon. So Simon Fraser just trailing by 7.
Yeah, and that's a great start, and hopefully they keep up that intensity on defense. They did a good job in that first half, and they've kept it up in this to start the second, but it's been the offensive end of generating these shots, or easier shots, or higher percentage shots for themselves, or getting to the free throw line like Rachel Lukes has done the last 2 trips.
A 4-0 run on 4 Rachel Lukes free throws, making the difference here early on in this game. Simon Fraser will head out on the road next week. The men's team will return from Alaska, and they will be here for a couple next week. Busy. If you love the basketball community in BC, all the high school invitationals, boys and girls, and all the university action really ramping up beginning next week, with everybody from the U Sports side as well getting involved. So January will be Hoops Fest, as it always is in British Columbia, on the way to March Madness. It'll be here before we know it. And here come the Red Leafs out of their little huddle here as they look to cut this thing under 7 points with a made basket. Going inside to Quirk, and that's going to stay with Simon Fraser, I believe.
Yeah, it was a good little post up there by Quirks, but the help side was there to knock it away, and it wasn't quite far enough, but they still maintained possession.
Back up to top, they go to Bergeron. To Lukes, attacking in the paint. Quirk in the high post, off the window, too strong. Neufeld, rather, I did it again. Neufeld got that loose ball, keeps it alive. Here's Quirk. Back up top, Bree Neufeld for three, just off the mark. Energetic Simon Fraser play.
Yeah, and they're generating second chances.
And a miss on three, and Simon Fraser quickly, no second chance opportunities there as Lukes with a little hesitation, dribble to the window.
And this is the Red Leafs. You hope this becomes their identity of finding Lukes, and Lukes is so good in transition when there's those gaps in that space to attack.
Beautiful to watch that. 35-30. Simon Fraser. A big run here to start this one, but there's an N1 opportunity coming.
Yeah, I think they just needed one more step there to avoid the foul, but that's a tough one. And again, that's the first basket here for Western Oregon.
Enid Vaifanua will step up to the free throw line, the senior from St. George, Utah. Misses on the N1 opportunity, so Simon Fraser keeps it at 7, and here they come again. Neufeld. Bree gets it back, this time drives into the paint, puts up a shot off the window. What a beautiful drive into traffic by Bree Neufeld.
And that was a great possession, a change of tempo. You saw they didn't have transition, so they slowed it down and were taking that half a second to make the read before just going straight into it.
And Bree Neufeld, who was coming off the bench when we last saw this team in BC at the LEC in November. Boy, she's moved into the starting group and playing with such confidence. That shot by Youngblood off the back iron.
Another stop there for the Red Leafs.
So at both ends of the floor now, what a great job they've done. This is an 8-2 run, I believe, from the half. And the foul getting called against Western Oregon's Danielle Booker. So Booker's going to come out, coming in to replace her, number 14, the starter in the middle, Natalie Brown.
Yeah, and I like that strategy to start off, seeing that Western Oregon really didn't have a post presence of trying to isolate Quirks there. If they take away Quirks, then you just have wide open three-point shooters.
And they go to Sharp from the top. Low arcing shot. She gets hammered down low. And the foul is going to go against Brown, who just checked into the game. Rylan Quirk will come out of the game. Ocean Paradis now in. Really paramount here for all 5 of these Simon Fraser players to keep playing with that physical mindset. A shout out to everybody in Glasgow, Scotland watching Zoe Sharp. That would be an 8-hour time difference.
Good thing we started so early today then.
Yeah, they can all watch.
Watch while they're in bed.
Exactly. Yeah, those 7 o'clock starts are murder trying to watch them back home. They bring numbers on the sideline and
forces Western Oregon to call the timeout there. When you're getting pressured, you shouldn't dribble to the corner there, and the coach immediately knew they were in trouble, so called the timeout. You can kind of see that her team's kind of a little bit, they're kind of playing how SFU was in that first half, a little bit of scrambled, right? Not thinking it through a little bit.
Which brings me to my question to you, Katie, is when you go into the half as a coaching staff, you know, there were a lot of things happening at the end of that first half that kind of told you, you know, they had lost their focus. How do you go in with a group? Like, what is your thought on how you would best handle that situation? Because whatever it was that they did with this group has certainly turned the game over here to start the second half.
I think it's always easier going in as a coaching staff of a team that's losing, right? Because you have to make changes. You have to do things that are different. When you're winning by 11, again, it gives you that false confidence that you've done a lot of things well, right? But then it's like, okay, maybe this other team just has been playing poorly, which kind of SFU was, to be brutally honest. In that first half, they weren't knocking down shots and things weren't falling, and now they're finding better opportunities to score the ball. Their defense has been solid throughout when they're all 5 back and playing as a unit.
Yeah.
And when you make shots, you get to play defense like that more often.
I love that. Simon Fraser showing the best side of themselves here over this opening 4 minutes of the third quarter. And it's a game of runs is the biggest cliche in the biz, but we'll see how things keep going here for the home team in white as they get back on the floor. Western Oregon having a call for time after that aggressive Simon Fraser defense trapping in the corner. Western Oregon now with 18 on the shot clock, back to business. They've got a 4-point lead. Here's Youngblood, tries to shake her defender. Sharp puts up the 3, can't get it to go. Sharp doing a great job defensively in this game. Here's Lukes. Rachel inside. And a nice job there by Western Oregon.
Yeah, that was a tough one. You can see SFU again continuing to push the pace and getting it up, but then it's just being like, hey, we don't have something to attack and pulling that out rather than forcing that pass.
That was Destiny Lopez, number 32. Don't know if she's played in the first half, but big body there inside. Shot clock down to 8 here. Simon Fraser as Neufeld defends outside the arc. Down to 3, down to 2. They're not going to get the shot off. It's a shot clock violation. Oh. Did that count?
They did indeed count it, so we'll see what happens there.
Wow, that really seemed late. Simon Fraser will put up a 3 of their own. That one off the back iron by Bergeron. Wow. I guess as the referee saw it, it beat the clock.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's reviewable, what's not reviewable. Are they going to chat about it and see? But as you were saying, Destiny Mora-Lopez is in the game now because Natalie Brown has 4 fouls.
Of course.
So I think that's why Natalie Brown started on the bench to start the half, and then as soon as she came in and picked up that 4th foul, went to the bench.
Wow. So Destiny Mora-Lopez, 6-foot redshirt senior from the Dells in Oregon, coming out of Central Maine Community College, but a redshirt senior, so a real experienced player in terms of being in this Division II atmosphere. Making a difference here for Simon Fraser. We'll see what the officials do. They are indeed reviewing something here, so they're doing their best to see.
Yeah, it's definitely after it hit 0 from watching the replay.
Oh, you got a good look at that one. And again, kudos to our Red Leaf TV crew here. What a job they're doing. All the pictures from the West Gym as we try and sort that out. I almost thought they had completely lost track of the shot clock the way they were, with 1 on the shot clock. The dribbler had her head down, it seemed, almost. But they'll soon render a ruling on that.
Yeah, so hopefully.
Well, they're sending the 3rd official now over. Kevin Lay is joined Blake Cruzen as they continue to look. And we'll see what happens here. They are taking it off the board. It was indeed late. And there's not too much resistance here from the Western Oregon side. That was clearly late. We're right at the midway mark of this third quarter, and Simon Fraser, let's not forget, was trailing
by 11 at the half.
By 11 at the half. Thank you, Katie. And now they're down by 4, so.
Well, it's been interesting, too, just watching Western Oregon subs. It seems like they're having to respond to SFU and how they're doing. Now SFU is sending Rylan Quirks back to go into the game, but as soon as Rylan established a presence down low, they had to put in a big, and now Rylan's off. They have 5 guards out there.
And Wells missing on the three. Simon Fraser can just continue to play their style of basketball, as Katie's saying, really everything in their actions dictating what's happening on the floor right now. Here's Paradis for three. Nice box out by Wells against the taller Lukes. Youngblood. Thomas loses the ball, and they call a jump ball.
Simon Fraser continues to do a really good job on the defensive side of the ball. They're able to switch all the screens. So Western Oregon was trying to continue to set picks for each other, but when a team is just switching, it's not going to create much space.
Inside, Lukes is going to get to the free throw and a blocking foul called. Rachel Lukes set the tempo immediately in this second half with her play, just really aggressive-minded, getting to where she wants to get to on the floor. And although she misses the first, continues to pay off for number 12.
Yeah, and I think Lukes is a taller guard. I think she looks at this defense and says, when I go in there, there's not going to be anyone to block my shot. They're just going to have to foul me or I'm getting all the way to the rim.
Her mom and dad here watching from Prince George this weekend, including the dad, Wade Lukes, who was a star player with the Victoria Vikes for many years. He, of course, was Rachel's coach all through high school. Here's Rookstool. Take it on DeWall. And she creates the separation she needs against DeWall there to knock down that bucket.
Yeah, and I think Rookstool just showing off why she's the Western Oregon's leading scorer there. That was a very good one-on-one move.
Number 20. Turnaround by Quirk, and Ryland's going to get the roll there.
Yeah, I love it. There's the mismatch down there, and Ryland has great patience, right? There's lots of space.
A one-possession game after trailing by 11 at the half. And here's Wells now. Youngblood, what a job by Lukes. High points the block, and here comes DeWall down the floor. Haley with numbers. Oh, and it's knocked away by Wells.
I will keep saying this. I love how they're looking to push the pace. It's just so much easier to score in transition when you have numbers, when there's less defenders. You don't actually have to read as much. 5-on-5 is probably the hardest thing to play.
DeWall had a good look at that three, didn't fall for her. .250 remaining in a pivotal third quarter here for the Red Leafs. They've found new life. They're right back in this basketball game, trailing by 3. Sharp digging in defensively. Oh, is that Bergeron on a reach?
It was the right hand, kind of gave her a bit of a push.
And that'll be her third foul?
Third foul, for Bergeron there. That's something that she'll just continue to learn, is just that offhand of sometimes you like to use it to feel where they are, but if you push a little bit too much, it's easy for them to call a foul.
Inside, Karpau defending, I believe, going to get called. Tanya Karpau in that play.
Yeah, tough one there. A little bit of a switch. Kind of just couldn't get the feet around.
Tanya Karpau, 5'9" freshman from Anchorage, Alaska. And she makes good on that free throw. So Western Oregon back up by 5. A couple of free throws there. In the half court now for Simon Fraser. There's Sharp back up top. DeWall with a deep three off the front iron. Right to the shooter, and Bergeron just follows through.
Yeah, kind of similar to that first shot that Bergeron hit of the game, right? The like 15-foot jumper.
41-38. One possession game. And Wells underneath the basket. That foul getting called against Simon Fraser. It's going to go against Zoe Sharp.
Yeah, it's those one things when you get on their hip, you just can't continue to ride them. Actually, don't even think it was Zoe that fouled her.
Oh, okay.
It may have been called on Zoe, but I don't think she was the one that really did anything. But
she's right in front of our broadcast location, talking to head coach Langford. Wells with a miss there.
Yeah, it's one of the toughest things of like knowing when you're beat and not adding to it by having a foul, but still creating a little bit of pressure.
So the gap now at 5. Simon Fraser trailing. Made up 6 from the half. Here's Lukes. As she gets stronger, Luke's getting closer and closer to finishing those extremely tough shots. There's one inside the arc, put up by the Wolves, and Simon Fraser right back down the floor. Having trouble seeing the action here with the vantage point blocked by the officials and coaching staff, but there goes a 3, and that's not going to fall for Sharp. Quirk in the neighborhood for that loose ball, but it will be Western Oregon basketball. A minute left in the third quarter. I don't know how to describe the play right now. Scrappy, I think.
Yeah, scrappy on both ends of the floor. Good, we'll say good defense on both sides, making it tough for the offenses.
Wells has been such a tremendous force here for Western Oregon today. Here's Rookstool. Shot clock's now at 10. Rookstool into the paint, and following through is going to get fouled. Maybe Luke's here?
Called it on Neufeld there. Again, that's when you're beat. If you just keep riding their hip, you're going to get called for the foul almost every single time, especially if they fall down.
And top scorer like Rookstool taking full advantage, getting to the stripe here, we mentioned, coming in as the leading scorer on this team. Both her and Wells, such a big part of Western Oregon's good start here. They had won a school record 7 straight before their loss on Thursday at Western Washington, and that's conference and non-conference. Here's Sharp. Luke's again at the top. 20 seconds left, 6 seconds in the difference between the clocks. And Luke's continuing to draw contact on her way to the rim.
I feel like both defenses are struggling with the same thing here of like allowing them to turn the corner a little bit and not quite getting in front and then leaving a hand down on their hip. And if they go up and they look off balance, the officials are probably going to call a foul.
From the Red Leaf standpoint and Rachel's standpoint, what a day at the free throw line for her. She continues to get her share of trips and makes.
Yeah, getting 10 trips, shooting 10 free throws this quarter alone.
Great job to make it a 4-point game. Simon Fraser needs to play shutdown D here to the end of this quarter to be a +7 for the third. And they're just going to let the clock expire. 44-40, the score. Will take our first actual break from the mic this entire game other than the half, and be back with the start of the fourth quarter in just a moment.
University of Alaska Anchorage It's game time 7 p.m. and Saturday, January 17th versus the University of Alaska Deuce at 1 p.m.
And we're back with you here for the start of the fourth quarter. Rachel Lukes leading Simon Fraser and all scorers now with a game-high 17 points. Katie 11 of 12 from the free throw line, 13 points for Sophie Bergeron. And the leading scorer on the other side, Wells with 16 and Rookstool with 12.
Yeah, it was Rachel Lukes got to set the tempo from the very beginning there. They also set it up with Rylan Quirks getting a lot of opportunities down low and kind of just, I think, set the tone against Western Oregon about what they were going to have to do defensively.
Rylan Quirk with a couple of buckets. Nice to see her finding her touch from the offensive end. Oh my goodness, Wells comes out and drops down the triple.
Yeah, and that's, again, one you don't want to lose track of. Wells did so well to start the game off for Western Oregon.
Oh, bingo at the other side of the floor.
Sophie Bergeron responds right back. Kind of like this start of the game again.
Oh, I think we're in for a great fourth quarter here as Bergeron knocks down the triple. What an answer from number 11 to make it enough, restore the 4-point gap. Here's Wells driving on Lukes. Just inside the three-point arc. That one's not going to fall. Tipped around and gobbled up underneath by the Wolves. A miss, and there's Zoe Sharp. Right back to Lukes to the corner. Bergeron from the other side. Oh, just off the mark there. Paradis is going to get fouled on the other side. That's Kylie Robertson, the 6'1" redshirt freshman from Tahoma High School. And a transfer from Division I Cal State Northridge. She heads back to the bench. Paradis back to Bergeron. Sophie kind of tried to reach up with that lay-in. There's Booker. And stepping in is Sharp.
Great positioning there by Sharp, and it helps when they forearm you.
I've watched her play. I guess this will be my 5th game watching her in her first season, and I really didn't know what would be her she really digs in defensively. I've been so impressed by her today.
Yeah, Zoe Sharp just seems to be all over the floor, right? Just kind of buzzing around, doing a little bit of everything.
Here she is again, wearing number 22. The Scottish native to Lukes. Rachel back up top. She comes to Neufeld. Bree the dish. So a turnover there.
I never truly know what a travel is anymore because that didn't look too bad to me.
Yeah.
It just looked like a very extended step.
Nonetheless, Simon Fraser losing possession of the basketball. Rylan Quirk is up at the minor officials table, set to check in at the next stoppage. Inside they go. Great job there. That was Neufeld coming in and knocking it away.
Yeah, and I'm going to be interested to see the next offensive possession for SFU with Rylan Quirks back in the game and knowing that Natalie Brown is playing with those 4 minutes. Probably hasn't been able to get much of a rhythm. Only played 60 minutes so far in this game because of foul trouble.
That Rylan doing her stuff in the middle here once more for Simon Fraser. That one tipped away by Quirk. We just mentioned her name, and there she is again. Ooh. And this time Zoe Sharp will get called for the foul.
That was good help side. Ooh, yeah, just kind of shuffled over, tried to stay with there. I think if Zoe had just stayed planted.
Kalani Rookstool, I believe that was, being helped up, and she seems to be okay. Actually, though, maybe her wrist a little bit worse for wear.
Yeah, you never want to see that. Tried to do a little bit of a lateral step and just kind of caught both feet on Sharp's leg.
She will take the free throws.
It's not feeling good. You can see that.
I thought she might actually put it behind her hand like a waiter and just shoot the things with one hand, but The guide hand good enough on the first, just off on the second there. She makes one of two. So a 5-point lead here for the Wolves. Simon Fraser wants to make up the deficit, make it a one-possession game. Here's Quirk on the baseline. That one well off the mark. Here's Wells. Brown looking inside. Zoe Sharp out of nowhere.
Yeah, just able to get that hand there. I don't even think had turned her head, but knew to get the hand up. Able to get a deflection.
Oh. Well, they're moving the ball well. They put up a 3-ball. Doesn't fall. I thought they had a shot midway through that possession. Nonetheless, shared it and got a good look from 3. Just couldn't get it to fall. Alyssa Bawalda now into the game for Ryland Quirk.
I think they're trying to clear up who the foul was on. Yeah.
Trinity Youngblood will. Oh, there's a.
I think they're trying to figure out if it was 32 or 22. It all depends who they actually called it on. It's one of them. You can see Ryland Quirk and Zoe Sharp, but it looks more like Ryland. Yeah. Yeah, so they'll clear it up.
Officials will clear that one up. Well, Simon Fraser's done what they need to do coming out of halftime to get back into this basketball game, Katie. Now they've got to find a way to put a finishing touch on this. Got to rally a bit here over the late stretches, but this there's a level of resilience in this Western Oregon team that is pretty impressive. Base that as well on the way they didn't give up against Western Washington and kept fighting and really put a run on Western Washington towards the end of that game, even though they lost on Thursday.
Yeah, Western Oregon just kind of stays true to how they've played the entire game. Of they love to look in that transition, and they're going to hit those open shots, right? We've seen it with Sienna Wells of just when you lose Wells in transition, that 3-ball is going down, right? And then you have Rookstool, who has actually been relatively quiet, 13 points, right? And that's usually their leading scorer, and they just have different ways to score between those two.
Yeah, Wells has certainly been an engine, fire starter for this Western Oregon team. She remains on the floor wearing number 1. Trinity Youngblood being guarded by Lukes. Back to Brown as the shot clock approaches 10. Into the paint they go. That one looked like it was going to go down. It just came back up. So Western Oregon unable to score, but they steal it right back.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because on the defensive end, that was a good job by Simon Fraser, seeing their beat, but not taking the foul.
So Bawalda will check out. Ryland Quirk back into the game.
Rookstool back in. Got looked at back in the game already.
This looks like pretty much the starting 5s for both teams right now, as we get down to 6.5 minutes remaining in the contest. Great take on that drive by Selma Youngblood, one of the starters, to make it a 7-point lead. Haley DeWall will check in. The next stoppage for the Red Leafs. Driving inside, Neufeld unable to score it. Can Simon Fraser continue to deliver key stops, or is this going to be the start of something? Lukes gets in there, does what she has to do defensively, but is going to get called for the foul underneath. 2 free throws forthcoming here for Western Oregon.
Again, similar to that, I think the latter part of that first quarter, right? Here's a little bit of a scoring drought for Simon Fraser, 3.5 minutes without a point. And
they will miss on the first here. Simon Fraser, as we said, trailed by 11 at the half. Certainly taking their runs at Western Oregon, but this one back to 8 now. So here's a key go time. Hit the green button for Simon Fraser on offense. Quirk puts up the long jumper for her inside the arc, but from about 17 feet is going to carry him back out.
This is where I hope, again, you can create a little bit of space, get a good attack going downhill.
That one off the inbounds to DeWall, who's going to do some sidestepping. Rachel Lukes now facing the basket, explodes to the hoop and gets into that shooting motion, and the foul will be called against Enid Vaifanua, number 13.
Good things happen when Lukes attacks the hoop off of a reversal or in transition.
Yeah, we talked about those voluminous numbers from the free throw line and the production she's bringing with it that she continues to bring. Too strong on the second. I believe that's just her second miss of the night, of the day rather. And here comes Siona Wells. Approaching the midway mark of this final quarter. Underneath they go. Youngblood, the turnaround move is going to go.
Good recognition by Western Oregon, just seeing that mismatch of Haley DeWall trying to defend Youngblood.
And here's DeWall now with the basketball and offense back to Quirk. Wells quickly, Rookstool for three, leans into the triple and makes it fall.
And this is again where SFU struggled. They had a turnover on offense there, weren't able to get back, and now all of a sudden Western Oregon gets a wide open three-point look.
Yeah, and what you're saying, and you talked about those mismatches that can develop underneath too. With that largely guard lineup, Western Oregon can bring more of that kind of post-minded player into the paint right for those matchups. It's a tough one for Simon Fraser to try and defend.
Yeah, and they probably don't have a ton of practice doing that either, right? If you don't have people that really like posting up, you probably don't get practice posting up, right? So Western Oregon just doing a really good job of finding the mismatches, taking advantage, and then when they get turnovers, converting it into points.
And the big three, as you say, forcing the timeout here, and now back to a 12-point lead, larger than it was at the half. So Simon Fraser did a lot of good things over the last 16 minutes, but it's come back to a 10-plus point lead for the visitors from Western Oregon. Some of the numbers to let you know about from Simon Fraser's perspective: Rachel Lukes, the leading scorer for her team, 18 points, including 12 of 14 from the free throw line. Sophie Bergeron has hit a couple of threes. She's 7 of 16 from the field overall, 16 points. Bree Neufeld has 2 points, but she's got 11 rebounds. The 5'8 guard out of MEI doing a good job there. Siona Wells with 19, Keilani Rookstool with 16, and Vaifanua with 10, the double-digit scores for Western Oregon.
When I look at these stats, though, the thing that really sticks out to me is just the points off turnovers. Of Western Oregon has 18 versus Simon Fraser's 5. Simon Fraser hasn't got as many, as many steals or opportunities to really push the floor in this, especially in this fourth quarter.
And Simon Fraser with 7 steals on the game today. Here's Lukes driving into the paint, kicking back out. Bree Neufeld for 3. Big rebound there by Bergeron, off the window, and she's going to get the N1 opportunity. Look at the high point lean she got on that to corral that rebound, if we see that as part of the highlight here.
Yeah, and great job.
Wow.
Picking it up, pivot, one dribble, straight into it, and that's what you need right now.
Yeah, Bergeron did a great job, and she makes the free throw. She put in that shot off literally at the top of the glass and played the angle perfectly. So maybe the start of something good for Simon Fraser. They cut it to 9. Wells The give underneath to Rookstool, and a travel called there.
There you go. This is what you need, right? Continue to chip into this lead. One stop at a time.
One stop at a time. 4:14 remaining. And we've talked about Simon Fraser dry spells on offense. That basket from Bergeron, I think, will go a long ways to get them going again into another period of productivity here. Bergeron with the N1 effort now with 19 points. Well, she and Wells with 19 to lead their respective teams. Rachel crossover into the paint. Puts up a quick shot. Here's Youngblood, Parody guarding her. She takes it inside, and the foul committed by Haley DeWall.
Yeah, just a second too late there to try and provide that help side. It's the right idea. Saw that Parody was beat. Just wasn't able to slide in time. I think it's going to be really fun, though, to see the Simon Fraser team as they continue to get repetitions together as a unit, especially on the defensive side. You can see those help side. You can see the amount of charges that they're willing to take and put their bodies on the line. They love getting their hands in there, and the more and more they play together, they're just going to gel as a unit and really know where they can take advantage.
Well, second game in 3 days with a 9-player rotation as well. As you mentioned, right, they only dressed 9 for the last game. They've played 9 today.
Yeah, they're playing, like a lot of them are playing 30-plus minutes. I don't know what it was on Thursday, right? But Rachel Lukes is already at 32 minutes, probably going to play unless she just subbed off the last little bit here. Right, but.
She's still out there. I know what you're saying about the heavy minutes. And players like Parody, who just went back to the bench, are really, I mean, for her, this is the kind of trial by fire period for her to really get an idea of the physicality she's going to face out there as a freshman.
Yeah, and
those are big minutes for her.
And all these players are having to do a little bit of everything as well, and that takes a toll. There's no really time for you to rest. If I go back to when I played, I knew my main role was playing defense and hustling hard, and offensively, again, it was stay out of the way, give the ball to the people that are going to score the ball. But having a little bit of a break, whereas these ones, they need you in those rotations. They need you to step up, making those switches, being on point for an entire game is not just physically exhausting, but mentally exhausting.
Yeah. And I think what you talk about with the switching stuff that's happening out there is so key for people who want to understand when you are kind of an undersized team, the fact that you've got to do everything. You talked about everything, right? I mean, things you wouldn't do on a team that had maybe more height, a deeper rotation. So a lot of stuff happening out there.
Yeah, and if you look at, I think Zoe Sharp and Bree Neufeld are the ones that are taking the brunt of it. But when they're defending the person that's bringing up the ball, and then they're screen set, so they're then defending that person, and then they're defending that person, and they're ending up defending the ball for like 20 seconds in a possession, but then being the point guard and having to run the offense, right? And then in Neufeld's position of also going after those boards and collecting those boards as an undersized guard.
And we should mention as well, this Simon Fraser team came into the season with great hopes in the post for the transfer Gwen Aisland, who got hurt about 5 minutes into their first game of the season. And she has played on occasion since, but I think the knee given her some issues, and that's been a tough adjustment for the rest of this roster. We're back to live action with just 3 minutes left and a 12-point lead for Western Oregon. Here's the entry to Youngblood. Kick it back out to Wells. The three ball is going to fall right there for Vaifanua.
And that was a tough one again of poor Haley DeWall was getting posted up by Youngblood, so they had to send the double.
And Rachel Lukes tries to get two back, comes close but can't get it to fall.
There you go, that's a little bit better. They switched it. Oh, unfortunate, not a good foul there. But they switched it so that Lukes could be on Youngblood that was going down to the post so that Haley DeWall could defend further away from the hoop.
Time out on the floor. We'll take a short one here and be back with a final 2:32 in just a moment from the West Gym.
Have any questions about the fitness center, intramural sports, or anything else about SFU recreation? Check out or download the SFU Rec app for all your answers.
Back with you on GNAC TV, Howard Simura, Katie Miyazaki. The final 2.5 minutes here. Simon Fraser wants to try and find a flourish here after the free throws upcoming here from Wells. Wells, for all her activity, has not been to the free throw line much today, but she goes 1 of 2.
Wells was busy hitting those threes.
Yeah. So 63-47. There's DeWall for 3. Bergeron and Sharp coming in defensively.
I think a timeout here by Western Oregon. But I love the energy of this Red Leafs team, right? You're down, what is this, 15 points right now, right? But still trying to get those repetitions. If you can't simulate this and you can't overstate the value of this for this young team.
Yeah. And from where they come, we talked about this right off the top. They didn't really know who they were going to be in Langley, especially after they lost their post player in the first game of that NCAA Division II Challenge. And at that point, Haley DeWall and Bree Neufeld looked like promising pieces of the puzzle, but ever since have really become something that this team can lean on. And that's been, I think, a pretty huge part, obviously, of what they're going to be. Without those two right now, there is a lot of options, although it's a smaller lineup that Bruce Langford has, right?
Yeah, and I think already going into the season, whether there was injuries to their post players or not, it was going to be a lot of learning that these young players were going to have to do, right? Because as we said, there was no starters returning. Rachel Lukes was the only one that really played any minutes, right? So again, you're coming in, new starters, new groups, new people. Now you've got a whole bunch of young people that are getting their first experience at this level. I think they wanted a 10-second call there, right? But so I think, again, these progressions that we're seeing in them, we've seen great stretches throughout these games. It's going to be, can they string it together for longer?
Yeah, and that's part of what the season will tell here is we're just 4 games into this GNAC season. Under 2 minutes remaining now. Simon Fraser getting the basketball back. And certainly you saw Simon Fraser, if they were lacking identity in that first half, Rachel Lukes gave them one in the second half. And certainly has played a great game here for the Red Leafs.
Yeah, and usually, again, coming in as rookies or coming in as young players, you've usually expected to go in for a couple minutes, have a good little spurt, and work your tail off, and then you get a rest. And we're not seeing that, right, in these 30 minutes. Rachel Lukes, 34 minutes. Bree Neufeld, 30. Sophie Bergeron, 29. Zoe Sharp, 31. Rylan Quirks, 27, right? There's a lot of minutes just amongst those 5, right? You don't get a break.
Yeah, and this kind of separate from the actual game itself, but the interest Coach Langford has in letting us know who's here in terms of the alumni, I think is a really neat part of the culture of the whole group, right? As you move forward, wherever you're playing your basketball, for these players to know some of the best players that came before them in this program, I think is an important part, and I hope there's a lot more of that, to come this season, because there's so much to draw upon from a team that has been to 2 NCAA Division II Sweet 16 since going into Division II, and under Coach Langford won 5 national championships in youth sports. That's a lot of resource to have for these players.
Yeah, and it's huge. If I remember when I was starting as a rookie here and just going to the scrimmages during the summer and getting to take on some of those alumni and just getting destroyed a little bit. I remember my first ever scrimmage during the summer, and Langford made me defend Teresa Gabriel, who had at that point been the starting point guard for the national team for a decade. And I remember going home and laying on the ground and just being like, I just got crushed for 2 hours straight, right? But I loved it, and I loved the challenge, right? Of just seeing what
yeah. Katie, that is unreal. That is an incredible remembrance. And you know what? Not only points to, the passing of the torch in this great program that Bruce Langford and before him Allison McNeil have put together here atop Burnaby Mountain, but the fact that, there's so much more to come and so many great players out there. And Simon Fraser has always found a way in this program to have great British Columbia girls high school basketball products on the floor. And, of course, we're going to continue to see more of that. There's one of them right there, Rachel Lukes out of Prince George. She'll bring the ball up the floor here with under 2 minutes remaining. Bree Neufeld. And this Zoe Sharp with a nice offensive rebound. Rookstool. Oh, she's going to get fouled at the end. Haley DeWall committing the foul.
Tough one there. And again, this SFU team, it's gritty, right? It works hard, and hopefully things are just going to start to click a little bit, and it's going to actually get easier for them. Right now, I think they're just really having to focus in and think about it. They're hitting some tough shots, but actually you wish you could just work for the easy ones, right, and get a couple of those easy ones.
It was late in December, I think. Coach Langford texted me, and I was midway through December, and he had sent me something that showed that Simon Fraser's women had played the toughest schedule, I guess with the RPI or whatever that is, in the entire West region for Division II. To that point. So, and that's the kind of preseason they needed, right? And I think it's going to, as you say, as they go through the steps here to continue to work to get better and more consistent, I think every element's been put in place to let them be their best this season. So we'll see how that all kind of unfolds over the next couple of months. Down to a minute remaining. Western Oregon playing that deliberate milking the shot clock, and down to 6, and they're going to lay it up and in with Youngblood.
Yeah, still pushing hard here, and Luke's get to go back to the line again there. And as much as you want to get wins, and especially for a young team, it just builds up a little bit of confidence. But you don't also want to be peaking right at the beginning either, right? You want to get better as it goes along. I think, which this team will. Have we just seen such an improvement over, a month and a half?
Yeah, it is amazing to see. As you mentioned, I mean, really, Ryland Quirk started a pile of games here last year, obviously, and but as you say, there was so much change within the rotation in the starting group that this has been their kind of runway, taxiing on the runway here to get going and to finding out who they are as a basketball team. And we've seen it in spurts throughout this opening week of the conference season here at the West Gym.
Oh, so close right there. Luke's almost with the steal.
I think, does she have 20 trips to the line tonight, or is it 18? I think it's 18. That's quite a few.
16?
Is it 60? No, I was thinking maybe it was 20, but yeah, I guess not. 25.8 seconds left in it. The lead right now up to 19 points.
Live stats in my computer are not agreeing with me today, so.
A lot of gremlins in the West Gym today.
16 it says
16,
right here.
Okay, there we go. So 16, is she 13?
14 of 16.
14 of 16,
yeah.
There you go.
Right, and then still from the field, a tough shooting night, 3 of 10, not the best, and her looks were getting better as she was going along, and actually her best look, she ended up getting fouled right? But able to get 20 points. Shooting 3 of 10, but able to get 20 points because you're getting to the line and going hard to the basket. I think that, again, is more valuable experience that they're going to be able to take into the next game.
Yeah, and when I think about this game and I think, well, what did I see today that I didn't see before is the way Zoe Sharp defends. Just love to watch number 22 defend on the floor here. Karpal puts up the 3.
Right, and we said this is, I think defensively, I'll say this last little bit is a little distorted because they did pressure, right, and gave up a couple good baskets. But defensively, I thought they did a really good job. It was just offensively, they shot 25%.
Yeah.
That's a tough shooting night, right? And it just leads to more transition for the opposing team. So I think if they can get more easy looks on the offensive end, it's going to help their defense, which is already gritty, already in your face, and it's just going to propel them to have so much more success.
Well, if St. Martin's and Western Oregon are 2 of the top 3 teams in the GNAC, and the other one might be Western Washington, Simon Fraser has started off here at home with 2 of the tougher teams in the conference, and it'll be a great measuring stick to see how they do when they go on the road to play these 2 teams later in the conference season. The final score here, 68-49, Western Oregon with a big win over Simon Fraser. The Red Leafs fall to 2-2 on the season, while Western Oregon improves to 3-1. To everyone on our GNAC TV crew here today, a great amount of thanks to everybody from the minor officials table onwards. And of course to my analyst, my partner here, courtside, Katie Miyazaki, thanks as always for your insights. We'll be back with more play from Simon Fraser when the men visit the West Gym next week. Howard Samura bidding farewell, and we'll see everybody soon.